Welcome back 8th class students. Maths lesson number 8, Quadrilateral Constructions and Types. Today we are going to study properties of rectangle, square and rhombus. Students, by putting some conditions on sides and angles of a quadrilateral, we get different types of quadrilaterals. You already know two types of quadrilaterals, that is rectangle and square. Now we will study some more properties of these types and some more types of quadrilaterals. And today we are going to study what is meant by rectangle, square, rhombus and their properties. Now number one is a rectangle. If all angles of quadrilateral are right angles, then it is called rectangle. Here one rectangle PQRS is given, in which angle P is equal to angle Q is equal to angle R is equal to angle S is equal to 90 degree. So all angles of this quadrilateral are right angles. Therefore this is rectangle. Now properties of rectangle. Opposite sides of rectangle are congruent. Opposite sides, that is PS, side PS, congruent side QR. Also side PQ, congruent side SR. So opposite sides of rectangle are congruent. This is one property. Number two is diagonals of rectangle are congruent. For this rectangle, QS is one diagonal and PR is the other diagonals. These two diagonals are congruent. So diagonals of rectangle are congruent. Property number 3, diagonals of rectangle bisect each other. Means the diagonal QS has a midpoint T and also diagonal PR has a midpoint T. So diagonals bisect each other means QT congruent TS and PT congruent TR. So these are the properties of rectangle. Now number 2, square. If all sides and all angles of quadrilateral are congruent, then it is called as a square. In the figure ABCD, quadrilateral ABCD is a square because angle A is equal to angle B is equal to angle C is equal to angle D. All the angles are congruent. So all the angles are 90 degree. Angle A is equal to angle B is equal to angle C is equal to angle D. 90 degree angles. Also all sides are congruent, means side AD congruent side AB, congruent side BC, congruent side CD. All the sides are congruent. So such a quadrilateral in which all angles are congruent and all sides are also congruent is called square. Now let's see properties of a square. Diagonals are congruent. So diagonal BD congruent to diagonal AC. AC and BD, these are diagonals and they are congruent. Diagonals bisect each other. Diagonal BD and diagonal AC intersect at point E. Point E is the midpoint of BD, also midpoint of AC. So diagonals bisect each other. Therefore this length BE and ED are congruent. Also length AE and length EC are congruent. Diagonals are perpendicular to each other. So these two diagonals are perpendicular to each other. This angle these all four angles become 90 degree. Diagonals bisect the opposite angles. This diagonal bisect this angle A. So this is 90 degree, therefore this angle 45 degree and this angle 45 degree. These two angles become equal. Similarly, these two angles become equal, 45 degree, 45 degree. These two angles become congruent. Diagonals bisect opposite angles. So these are the four properties of square. Now number 3 is a rhombus. So what is mean by rhombus? If all sides of quadrilateral are of equal length, means congruent, then it is called as a rhombus. This quadrilateral EFGH is rhombus because it's all sides. Side EF congruent, side FG congruent, side GH congruent, side HE. All sides are congruent. Therefore, this is rhombus. So quadrilateral whose all sides are of equal length or congruent is called as a rhombus. Now let's see properties of rhombus. Opposite angles are congruent. This angle E congruent angle G. Also angle F congruent angle H. So opposite angles of rhombus are congruent. Diagonals bisect opposite angles. So this diagonal bisect this angle. These two angles become equal. These two angles also become equal. These two angles become equal, and these two angles also become equal. So diagonals bisect the opposite angles. Then diagonals bisect each other. So M will be midpoint of both the diagonals. So this length and this length, this length and this length, these two lengths equal and these two lengths equal. So diagonals bisect each other and diagonals are perpendicular to each other. Means this angle between the diagonals become 90 degree. These are the properties of rhombus. The students, today we have studied the rectangle, its properties, then square and its properties, rhombus and its properties, and in next video we are going to solve practice set 8.2.